Salutations, crustaceans! I'm Lobster, and welcome to part 2 of the Dung Beatle bass series, where we're checking out the Harley Benton BeatBass. Let's go! This is the Harley Benton BeatBass VB. A Beatle bass, essentially. And this is the least expensive Beatle bass that you can get at $170 plus shipping. This comes in neck and neck when you include shipping to the Rogue VB100, which we just checked out prior. Both basses feature very similar specs, but there are some key differences. Let's go over the specs of this bass now. The top is a flame maple top, but the back and sides are basswood. We also have a maple neck and an amaranth fretboard. And it seems to be painted or something because it's really dark. It must be dyed. On top of that, the back of the neck is finished as well. However, the transition from the finished neck to the non-finished fingerboard is rather rough in some areas. Just like the Rogue and the Hofners and all that other jazz, this bass is coming in at a 30.5-inch scale from the nut to the bridge here. Pretty typical for a bass like this. And what is not typical is the nut width, coming in at 42 millimeters. So this is quite the chunky neck. And you notice it when you're playing it in the lap, not because of the thick neck profile itself, but because of the neck dive. This is one of the most neck divey basses out there. For pickups, we have two Harley Benton BeatBass humbuckers, and that's paired to a Beatle bass style control panel. We have two volume controls, one for each pickup, and then we have three little switches. One for a volume boost or reduction. It's called the solo and rhythm mode, where rhythm is 70% volume, solo is 100%, and then we have a treble on and bass on switch. Those control the pickups as well as engage a certain capacitor to give you a certain treble cut or a bass cut. Very interesting overall. The hardware is also pretty standard for a bass like this, however it looks to be more premium than that of the Rogue. I have to say that the Rogue kind of has some hardware blemishes and some hazy spots, but everything on this looks to be mint. The only stuff I can really see is the finish issues around the fingerboard, but that does not affect playability. Speaking of the fingerboard, again, it's a 22 fret Amaranth fingerboard, and I find the fretwork on this particular example to be quite exemplary for the price, so they did a great job here. Now let's turn this bass around real quick. Around back we see a whole lot of nothing. There is no rear control cavity and no battery because this is a passive instrument. We also just see the neck attachment. This is a set neck, just like the Rogue and the Hofners and all that stuff, so that means the neck is glued onto the body. We also see the back of the neck, which has a similar sunburst style finish. This is a much darker sunburst than what we see on the Rogue, which has a lot more red around the borders. In regards to weight, the Harley Benton BeatBass comes in at 5.2 pounds, about a half a pound lighter than the Rogue, which we reviewed. And that is probably attributed to the materials with the basswood body versus the all-maple construction of the Rogue. However, that weight difference is not really super noticeable for something this lightweight. And in regards to price, this bass is currently coming in at around $170 plus shipping and taxes and all that from Thomann. I say this every time we look at a Harley Benton. I highly recommend purchasing multiple basses if you're ordering from Thomann to kind of split up the shipping costs a little bit. I purchased this along with two other basses, and I paid around, I think it was $120 or so for shipping of 3 instruments internationally, which is not too bad. However, I don't expect buying a single instrument to give you that much savings, so it might be still, $80 or so. So again, I definitely recommend bundling up your purchases at Thomann. I'm not affiliated with Thomann in any way. I purchased this instrument myself. I just recommend that in terms of saving on shipping costs. Now I know you're all wondering, what does this bass sound like? You all know what you need to do. Go ahead and pinch that like button so my hand will turn back to normal. Thanks. Just like with the Rogue review, I'm going to do most of it with a pick, so I'll just get the fingerstyle playing out of the way. We have the bass on and the treble on and the pickups in solo. Both pickups are on at 100%. So yep, that is with everything up all the way, fingerstyle, and now let's grab the pick, do the same thing, and then we'll start messing around with these controls a bit. Oops. Still working on that. So that again was with both pickups engaged and treble and bass on. Next we are going to flick the middle switch, which is going to engage our treble cut. That is going to disengage our bridge pickup. So here's what that sounds like. And let's do the opposite now. We are going to have just the treble engaged. So there is a bass cut, and we are also soloing the bridge pickup. And let's put the pick away, have the treble and bass engaged, and let's see how she slaps. These basses are not slappers. Not slappers. These are meant for like picking and plucking. And now let's throw some drums behind this bass. So here are my final thoughts on the Harley Benton BeatBass VB. I think that this is a decent bass for the price. It comes in cheaper than the Rogue, though you do have to include shipping, and it's built better, that's for sure. The finish on the Rogue I think was a little bit better, but the fretwork on this is like way better. I also think this sounds a bit better, and the pickup adjustment on this bass at least works, whereas the one on the Rogue did not, and I could not raise that bridge pickup any further. Or lower it, it was just stuck. If you haven't seen that Rogue video, by the way, that's linked in the description below as well. That is part 1 of the 3-part Dung Beetle bass series. Part 3 will be a tone comparison between the Rogue and this Harley Benton here. So what am I going to rate the Harley Benton BeatBass VB? Yeah. I'm going to rate this bass 3 claws out of 5. Overall, I'd say that the sound and the playability is above average. However, the fit and finish is definitely below average, even for the price. You do have some major rough spots around the fingerboard, but the playability is unaffected here. The fretwork is solid. I think that this is a nice average value for the $170 plus shipping. It's the cheapest Beatle bass you can get out there, and it's definitely not the worst. We will again be doing a tone comparison between this bass and the Rogue VB100, so you can decide for yourself in terms of the tones that you like. But in regards to playability, this is definitely the superior instrument. Harley Benton, in my opinion, really nail it with their passive instruments, their budget lines. When things start to get more expensive, I think that the quality starts to diminish, especially when it comes to the electronics. So I think that, they hit the nail on the head here. This is a nice value. You can definitely do better in terms of the Harley Benton line. I really like their jazz basses. They're a bit heavy, but they just sound and play great. So I like those a lot. This, I think, is pretty average, though. So take that for what it is, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. Well, that's it for this review. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like, subscribe, join our Discord channel, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Harley Benton BeatBass VB. And as always, until we groove again.